200 million years ago, molten rock and ocean collided beneath what would become Texas. When the sea vanished, it left behind canyons, plains, and stone forged from the planet's oldest layers. From that ground, people built a state that never stopped moving, conquered, rebuilt, and reborn through every era. Even after the rushes ended and the engines stopped, traces of it all still remain. In Winkelman, the remains of an early settlement lie scattered across the fields, untouched for generations. Lighthouse Rock towers above the canyon, its walls shaped by forces older than memory. And at Washington on the Brazos, the birthplace of Texas independence still stands, preserving the moment when an idea became a nation. Stay with me as we uncover Texas's most extraordinary wonders, where rare discoveries and forgotten mysteries might change the way you see this state forever. Bandera sits in the scenic Texas hill country along the Medina River, and its name, meaning flag in Spanish, remains a mystery surrounded by conflicting legends. Known as the Cowboy capital of the world, this town earned its title in the late 1800s as a staging point for the Great Western Cattle Trail, a major route used to drive herds north to market. Local farm boys joined the long cattle drives, learning the cowboy trade, while merchants supplied gear and provisions, becoming outfitters for the booming cattle industry. That legacy continues through Bandera's dude and guest ranches, rodeos and lively honky-tonks, local bars where people gather for dancing, country music, and a true taste of Texas nightlife. The town's history also carries darker tales, including frontier battles at Bandera Pass and rumours that Lincoln's assassin, John Wilkes Booth, once lived here under an alias. Today, Bandera preserves its Wild West spirit, with hitching posts still outside shops, a lively 3-day cowboy Mardi Gras attracting thousands each year, and a bronze monument honouring its rodeo champions. Continuing its cattle-driving legacy, Longhorns still roam the fields around the town today. These cattle developed entirely in North America over 500 years without human intervention, making them the only breed fully adapted to the continent through survival of the fittest. Longhorns are grazing specialists, foraging on grasses, shrubs and brush, while using their wide horns to navigate dense vegetation. Impressively, they survive for days without water while consuming thorny brush, cactus and vegetation that would starve other breeds, persisting where conventional cattle fail. Their horns span over 8 feet tip to tip and evolved specifically as defense weapons against wolves, mountain lions and bears that ambush from behind. Potential dangers include predators like coyotes or bobcats targeting calves, as well as human-related threats such as fencing, vehicle collisions, or habitat loss. What truly distinguishes Longhorns is their ability to survive extreme heat, cold and rough terrain, making them one of the most resilient cattle breeds in North America. Big Bend National Park covers over 800,000 acres along the Rio Grande, named for the river's dramatic curve. Situated in the northern portion of the Chihuahuan Desert, it represents the largest protected expanse of this ecosystem in the nation. Within this vast landscape, the park supports remarkable biodiversity, including hundreds of bird species, mountain lions, black bears, and desert plants found nowhere else in the country. In addition, it showcases world-class geology, from volcanic dikes and fault systems to limestone layers embedded with ancient seashells that reveal its oceanic past. The park's varied elevations create dramatic temperature swings, with summer highs often above 100 degrees Fahrenheit and winter lows dropping below freezing. These conditions make Big Bend a challenging yet rewarding destination for visitors, explorers, photographers, and anyone eager to experience the park. Flowing along the park's southern edge, the Rio Grande River provides water and sustains life in the desert. Recognized as the fifth longest river in North America, the Rio Grande forms a natural boundary between Mexico and the United States for over 1,000 miles. Along the way, it carves deep canyons and shapes the surrounding desert and mountain terrains, and provides water for plants, animals, and people in the Big Bend National Park's dry region. Among the wildlife that depends on the Rio Grande for survival is the green heron. These wading birds have adapted to Big Bend's desert waterways through their greenish-blue feathers, on their back and wings, a chestnut-coloured chest and neck, and a dark cap that helps them blend in along the shorelines and overhanging branches. Unlike larger herons that wade through the deeper water, it perches on low branches or stands on the riverbank, waiting motionless to ambush passing prey. The green heron is one of the few tool-using bird species carefully dropping bait like bread crusts, insects, feathers or twigs onto the water to attract fish close enough to catch. It crouches patiently, with its neck coiled in an S shape, before striking with great speed to spear or grab its prey. In warmer regions like Big Bend, these birds are generally non-migratory, but after the breeding season, they may leave their territories to roam and might not return if they find better habitat. Despite this wandering, they remain fiercely territorial, rarely allowing other herons in their feeding areas. The desert beyond the green heron's riverbank territory is the Chihuahuan Desert. Known as the largest desert in North America, it spans approximately 250,000 square miles, including parts of West Texas. It is home to around 3,500 plant species, including nearly a quarter of the world's cacti, and about 1,000 of these species grow nowhere else, making it the most biologically diverse desert in the Western Hemisphere. In addition, the Chihuahuan Desert has valleys, mesas, salt lakes, dunes, and diverse habitats, with its eastern edge hosting many endemic yuccas, agaves, and desert grasses. Despite this richness, the ecoregion is one of the world's most endangered, threatened by overgrazing, water loss, urbanization, agriculture, invasive species, and overcollection of native plants and animals. Big Bend National Park protects the largest protected area of Chihuahuan desert topography and ecology remaining in the nation. Among its natural wonders, strange lights appear above the desert. The Marfa lights are mysterious, unexplained orbs that appear in the night sky over the Chihuahuan Desert, taking their name from the town of Marfa, Texas, where they are mostly seen. They glow in various colours: yellow, orange, green, blue, and red, and can move, split, merge, disappear, and reappear without warning. This phenomenon remains unexplained despite over 140 years of observations, scientific studies, and countless witness testimonies. While lights mystify observers, another marvel stands in the desert: the balanced rock. This natural wonder stands at the edge of Grapevine Hills in Big Bend National Park, where a massive boulder balances atop two narrow pedestals. Measuring about 38 feet tall, it acts as a natural seismic record, showing that ground motion here has never been strong enough to topple it. The formation began as a laccolith intrusion around 31.5 million years ago, with magma that never broke the surface and later crystallized. Over millions of years, erosion stripped away softer rock, leaving the boulder perched and creating a natural window framing the Chisos Mountains in Big Bend National Park. As a result, it remains a popular destination for visitors and geology enthusiasts, though continued erosion makes its eventual collapse inevitable. Beyond the formation, predators rule the air as the large hawks hunt through the valleys. Cooper's hawk prowls the woodlands and canyons of Big Bend National Park, where desert meets mountain forest and prey species gather near water sources. To survive in this environment, it has adapted to the park's mixed terrain by using riverside areas along the Rio Grande and higher elevation forests where songbirds and small mammals live. Its short, rounded wings and long, flat tail allow the hawk to navigate dense vegetation at high speeds, moving silently from perch to perch while watching and listening for prey below. What sets it apart from similar species is its medium size and distinctly rounded tail, rather than squared or notched, and overall longer proportions. Additionally, adult birds display bluish-black backs and wings with red eyes, while juveniles show brown streaking and yellow eyes. Fort Davis was a historic military post in West Texas, established to guard travelers, mail coaches, and freight wagons along the Trans-Pecos segment of the southern route to California after the 1849 gold rush, to protect them from Apache and Comanche raids. Soldiers endured extreme heat and cold, which led to the construction of stone and adobe buildings designed to endure both harsh weather and potential attacks. Today, Fort Davis functions as a historic site, attracting visitors interested in history, architecture, and the stories of the people who lived there. Guided tours highlight the fort's past, while special events occasionally recreate aspects of military life. While soldiers once defended the fort from raiders, Mississippi kites now patrol the skies above. The mixed savannas and open woodlands of Fort Davis provide ideal nesting sites for Mississippi kites. These medium-sized grey raptors have bright red eyes, yellow to reddish legs, and long square-tipped tails. They forage on the wing, catching flying insects like cicadas, dragonflies, and grasshoppers using agile techniques such as gliding, circling, and swooping. Palo Duro Canyon is the second largest canyon in the United States and is often referred to as the Grand Canyon of Texas due to its size and impressive geological formations. It is renowned for its multicoloured rock layers, steep mesa walls, and hoodoos, which are unique rock formations created by erosion. The name Palo Duro, meaning hardwood in Spanish, was given by early explorers because of the abundance of mesquite and juniper trees in the canyon. Historically, the park served as a seasonal home for Native Americans, who also made durable bows from the trees. In 1874, Colonel Ranald S. Mackenzie led a military expedition that forced Native Americans out of the canyon during the Red River War, marking a turning point in regional control. Its infrastructure was later built by a Depression-era workforce, utilising local materials. In the mixed terrain of Palo Duro Canyon State Park, wild turkeys have adapted to canyon edges, grasslands and wooded areas, using trees for roosting at night and open spaces for foraging during the day. They rely on strong legs and sharp claws to run, forage, and navigate the rocky terrain, while their camouflaged feathers, wide vision, and short bursts of flight help them escape predators and roost safely. These turkeys can spot movement from great distances and hear sounds over a mile away, making them one of the toughest game animals in Texas, despite having no sense of smell. They are opportunistic foragers, feeding on seeds, nuts, berries, insects and small reptiles, all while using their keen eyesight to detect danger as they scratch the ground for food. Predators such as coyotes, bobcats, foxes, and large raptors threaten both adults and juveniles, and human activity, including hunting and habitat disturbance, further impacts their survival. The Lighthouse Rock is a sandstone hoodoo that stands out for its resemblance to a lighthouse. Its layered structure shows different types of rock stacked on top of each other, with each layer representing a different time period, with interesting shifts in climate and ancient ecosystems. Barbary sheep thrive in Palo Duro Canyon State Park, where cliffs and rocky slopes resemble the North African mountains they once inhabited. Originally from North Africa, these aoudad were released in Texas during the 1940s and 1950s to fill a supposed ecological niche and attract hunters, yet they adapted far more successfully than expected. They exhibit extraordinary climbing abilities, ascending and descending near vertical slopes with such precision that they can clear a 2-metre obstacle from a standing start. In addition, they forage by browsing on grasses, forbs, shrubs and even cacti, adjusting their diet according to seasonal availability. Most active at dawn and dusk, they seek vegetation on steep, rocky slopes and canyon areas to avoid heat and predators, and when threatened, they employ a counterintuitive defense of freezing motionless rather than fleeing. What sets them apart is their combination of antelope-like speed and mountain agility, which allows them to move quickly through multiple drainages and cover extensive distances. Tucked 18 miles north of Presidio in the Chinati Mountains, Shafter was named after Colonel William R. Shafter, who helped turn a prospector's discovery into one of Texas's most profitable silver mines. Once known as the richest acre in Texas, the town prospered from 1883 to 1942, producing over 32.6 million ounces of silver and employing as many as 400 workers. Now, crumbling adobe walls, abandoned mine shafts and scattered trailer homes define Shafter's haunting desert landscape. During its Wild West years, Shafter was a rough frontier town, a place of Apache raids, Texas Rangers, noisy saloons, and even illegal cross-border attacks led by one of its founders. In 1890, Mexican miners who pooled their wages built the Sagrado Corazon Church, which still holds mass today, one of the few structures in Shafter that continues to serve its original purpose after more than 135 years. In the present day, only about 30 residents remain, sustained by free water from a struggling mining company. Yet hope persists. Billionaire John Poindexter has expressed plans to revive Shafter as a living history town, preserving its ruins and stories. Located in central Texas, the Edwards Plateau is one of the region's oldest exposed landforms, supporting distinctive wildlife, and is known for its long tradition of cattle, sheep and goat ranching. Beneath the surface lies the Edwards Aquifer, a vital groundwater source for central Texas, while above the plateau rises Enchanted Rock, a 425-foot pink granite dome considered one of the largest monoliths in North America. Among the area's inhabitants, an exotic animal stands out for its non-native origin and remarkable adaptation to the plateau's environment. Originally from India, axis deer were introduced to Texas ranches for game hunting in 1932. Today, about 6,000 free-ranging individuals roam the Edwards Plateau, forming the largest wild population outside their native range. In this environment, their diet consists mostly of grasses such as little bluestem, Indian grass, switchgrass, paspalums, and grammars. As highly efficient grazers, they can shift to a grass-heavy diet during droughts, allowing them to tolerate conditions that challenge native deer. During the cooler hours of dawn and dusk, axis deer graze in open areas before retreating to cover during the day. They also forage in groups near springs and creeks, where daily access to water supports their survival across the Edwards Plateau. As day turns to night, another creature emerges across the plateau, the armour-plated 9-banded armadillo. These peculiar mammals are the only armadillo species found in Edwards Plateau region and have expanded their range northward over the past century in response to climate warming and habitat changes. They survive along creek bottoms, floodplains, and pockets of soft soil amid the limestone hills, where they dig burrows and forage for insects. Seasonal changes shift their activity. In winter, these armadillos forage at warmer midday hours instead of their usual early morning and evening, conserving heat and energy. Relying mainly on eating insects like beetles, ants, and termites, they use their snout and keen smell to find prey up to 8 inches underground. Adults measure 24 to 32 inches long, weigh 8 to 17 pounds, and are equipped with tough armour, sharp claws, and a long sticky tongue for extracting prey buried in the soil. Fort Griffin is a military post located in north-central Texas, was a key military post during the Indian Wars of the 1860s and 1870s. It protected settlers, guarded the Western Trail cattle route, and served as a base for military campaigns against Comanche and Kiowa raiders. Below the military reservation, a civilian settlement called The Flat emerged as one of the most notorious and lawless towns in Texas frontier history. Fort Griffin originally had over 90 buildings during its operational years, though most were built from green, untreated lumber that warped and cracked. Later on, Army officials declared the fort unfit for human habitation because these poorly constructed wooden structures were sweltering in summer and freezing in winter. Although there were ambitious plans to replace the temporary buildings with permanent stone structures, only 6 of the more than 90 buildings were ever completed in stone. Today, the stone ruins of several original buildings still stand on Government Hill, including parts of the bakery, commissary, and enlisted men's barracks. Caddo Lake spans 25,400 acres along the Texas-Louisiana border. It formed around 1800 when the Great Raft, a massive logjam on the Red River, blocked floodwaters and forced them into the Big Cypress Bayou lowlands. This unusual rapid formation gave rise to the lake's mysterious reputation, which has long been linked to folklore about earthquakes and disappearing towns. Its dark, maze-like waters and Spanish moss-draped cypress trees create an eerie, mystical atmosphere. Among the cypress trees and dark waters, the tri-coloured heron can often be spotted hunting for fish. This bird exhibits 3-toned plumage during the breeding season, with a blue back and wings, a white belly, and a rusty brown neck, hence earning its name from these distinct colours. These herons are perfectly adapted to Caddo Lake's flooded cypress forests, shallow bayous, and freshwater marshes, which provide the precise habitat they need to survive. The lake's maze-like channels and countless inlets allow them to establish isolated foraging territories, while their long legs let them wade through vegetation-choked waters that other herons cannot access. They use a specialised hunting technique called canopy feeding, where they extend their wings forward to shade the water, reduce glare, and lure fish before attacking with lightning speed. After capturing prey, they must swallow quickly to avoid losing it to gulls, terns, or other herons attempting to steal their catch. More aggressive than most heron species, tri-coloured herons fiercely defend their foraging territories through displays and confrontations, ensuring reliable access to prey-rich habitats throughout Caddo Lake's wetlands. Winkelman is one of the most peculiar ghost towns in Washington County, mainly because it was never a real town. Built to attract visitors, this fabricated settlement is often called a ghost town in reverse, designed to look abandoned from the start, and only years later did it actually become abandoned. Throughout the early 1980s, Ray Winkelman collected around 150 historic buildings from across the state, rescuing them from demolition. And in 1983, he purchased a 5-acre plot where he relocated 19 of these restored structures to create his artificial town. The venture initially drew tourists in groups and employed up to 90 full-time workers, with financing provided by the Washington County State Bank. However, within 3 years, the mid-1980s economic downturn caused revenue to collapse, forcing Winkelman to fall behind on payments and the project to fail. Today, this town remains a village of restored historic structures along US Highway 290, a curious reminder of a town that was never meant to exist. In the mature forests of Winkelman, Texas, the Acadian flycatcher inhabits closed canopy woodlands with open understories. The tall, mature trees and minimal ground cover provide the precise structure it needs for feeding and breeding. Their diet consists primarily of mosquitoes, flies, insect larvae, small moths, flying ants, small beetles, and spiders, with occasional consumption of blackberries and raspberries. South Padre Island is a resort town at the southernmost tip of Texas, located on a barrier island in the Gulf of Mexico. The island is named for Padre José Nicolás Bali, a priest who established its first permanent settlement in the early 1800s. Before that, it was called La Isla Blanca, or White Island, and Isla de los Malaguitas, after the Karankawa people who originally lived there. During the Civil War, the island was used to smuggle Confederate cotton to Mexico, and in World War II, it hosted a secret radar station, an offshore bombing practice with concrete-filled targets. Today, South Padre Island is a popular resort destination, featuring 34 miles of white beaches and year-round temperatures, averaging 74 degrees. On the shifting sands of South Padre Island, the tiny semi-palmated plover hunts mudflats and sandy shores near water, especially during migration and winter. It feeds on worms, crustaceans, mollusks, and other small invertebrates, using short bursts of running with pauses to spot and peck prey, a behaviour called run and pause. The partial webbing between their front toes sets semi-palmated plovers apart, allowing them to move efficiently across soft, muddy surfaces where other shorebirds might struggle. Sharing South Padre Island's beaches and sandbars with plovers, the Caspian tern hunts from the skies using a completely different strategy. As the largest tern species in the world, it measures 19 to 23 inches in length, with a wingspan of 50 to 55 inches. These terns aggressively defend their nesting territories, diving repeatedly at much larger birds, including herons, pelicans, and even bald eagles, until intruders retreat. When foraging, they fly over shallow water, scanning for fish with their heads pointed down, then perform steep plunge dives, often submerging completely and sometimes reaching depths of 5 feet or more to catch swimming prey. Their massive blood-red bills, measuring 2.4 to 3.4 inches, and often called fish knives, allow them to capture larger prey than any other tern species, while also serving as formidable weapons for defending territory. In addition, Caspian terns can fly up to 60 kilometres from their breeding colonies to hunt, switching between freshwater lakes and saltwater environments within a single foraging trip. Western edge of South Padre Island, Port Isabel is a historic coastal town shaped by centuries of trade, fishing, and maritime activity. When the railroad arrived in 1872, the town was officially incorporated and became a critical shipping centre for cotton, cattle, and seafood bound for markets across the Gulf Coast. Today, Port Isabel is a working fishing village and historic tourism destination with about 5,500 residents and a daily shrimp fleet supplying seafood across the Rio Grande Valley. Langtry sits along the Rio Grande in West Texas and is best known as the home of Judge Roy Bean, famously called the Law West of the Pecos. The town grew around the Southern Pacific Railroad in the 1880s and took its name from Lily Langtry, an English actress admired by Bean. Bean operated as both a saloon owner and justice of the peace, holding court in a single room in his saloon and gaining notoriety for unconventional rulings that often favoured what amused him or benefited his business. Langtry's population peaked at 200 to 300 in the 1930s, supporting schools and a downtown, but despite its small size, Judge Bean's fame made the town notorious across the region. The transition from steam to diesel locomotives eliminated the need for water stops and rail crews, triggering a population collapse that reduced the town to roughly 45 residents. Today, the Judge Roy Bean Visitor Centre and Museum preserves his saloon and courtroom, offering exhibits on the Old West, the town's railroad history, and the eccentricities of its legendary judge. Now, this near ghost town stands as a monument to frontier justice and the unusual life of the man who made it famous. Hamilton Pool Preserve is a natural swimming hole formed over 8,000 years ago when an underground river dome collapsed, revealing a jade-green grotto beneath limestone bedrock. It has a creek that plunges 50 feet into the pool, creating a waterfall into waters up to 25 feet deep, while collapsed limestone slabs and stalactites add dramatic features. In February 2021, winter storms caused ice wedges and increased rockfall, forcing the pool and trail to close, with partial reopening in May 2022. Swimming remains intermittent due to high bacteria from rainfall and bird activity, while droughts lower water levels and stress the ecosystem. Travis County now manages this preserve with prescribed burns, prairie restoration, endangered species surveys, and daily water quality monitoring to protect visitors and the fragile environment. In Hamilton Pool Preserve's limestone canyons and oak juniper woodlands, house finches adapt easily to the semi-dry Texas hill country. These small songbirds measure 5 to 6 inches in length and weigh 0.7 to 0.9 ounces, yet they have colonised nearly every corner of Texas thanks to remarkable environmental flexibility. As primary granivores, they feed on seeds from grasses, forbs and weeds throughout the reserve's riparian zones and uplands. They often forage in social flocks exceeding 100 individuals, especially during winter when food is scarce. Their specialised bills allow them to extract seeds from unopened seed heads and fruit pulp, giving them early access to food before competitors. What makes them stand out is their colour signalling. Male house finches display raspberry red plumage on their heads, breasts and rumps, with colours derived entirely from carotenoid-rich foods, while females wear brown streaked plumage for nesting camouflage. The intensity of a male's red signals his foraging skill and competitive strength, making brighter males more attractive to females. Beyond the birds in Hamilton Pool's canopy, nocturnal movements reveal North American porcupines, which inhabit the area year-round and rely on rocky crevices and caves for den sites. They favour ridges, slopes and streamside areas, avoiding flats and valleys that offer less protection. These porcupines are primarily nocturnal, foraging at night using their excellent sense of smell, though they can occasionally be seen during the day. They remain solitary most of the year, except during the fall breeding season, moving slowly and cautiously through their territories. Depending on seasonal availability, these rodents are strict herbivores, feeding on inner bark, cambium layers, twigs, leaves, buds, flowers, nuts, and fruits. In summer, they eat protein-rich leaves, forbs and mast to build fat reserves for winter, when they rely almost entirely on nutritionally poor tree bark and pine needles. The North American porcupines are covered with about 30,000 barbed quills, each tipped with microscopic backward-facing hooks that embed deeper with movement, making removal extremely painful. Fort Phantom Hill was a military post built to protect westward moving pioneers, and its eerie name reportedly arose from travellers mistaking distant hills for a large fort. Phantoms on the horizon, though the fort itself was real. Soldiers constructed crude adobe and stone structures, yet repeated flooding, high winds and supply shortages made the fort nearly uninhabitable. Its remote location made life extremely difficult for soldiers, who had to haul water from a spring 4 miles upriver when the well ran dry, while supplies sent 250 miles from Austin were sometimes seized by indigenous groups. This led the first commander to resign after just 6 months, followed by 2 more before the fort was abandoned in 1854, after less than 3 years of operation. The wooden buildings and jacal structures mysteriously burned down, leaving only 3 stone buildings: the magazine, guardhouse and commissary, along with over a dozen stone chimneys. The Alamo mission stands in downtown San Antonio, founded in 1718 by Franciscan missionaries as Mission San Antonio de Valero, to convert local indigenous peoples to Christianity. It is best known for the 1836 Battle of the Alamo during the Texas Revolution, where a small group of Texian defenders held out against the Mexican army for 13 days of siege. Though the defenders fell, their resistance inspired the rallying cry. Remember the Alamo. The Alamo now serves as a museum, preserving its 18th century chapel, barracks and walls, along with exhibits on the battle, daily life and Spanish missionary history. Pontotoc became a town when Monsieur Robert Kidd opened the first general store in 1851, naming it and the creek after his hometown in Mississippi. Other families settled soon after, and by 1878 the community had a hotel, stores, mills and horse businesses. German immigrants fueled growth, and by 1882 the San Fernando Academy opened in a grand sandstone structure at the centre of town, drawing students from across Texas. By 1890, Pontotoc had over 20 businesses, including stores, a market, a gin and mill, blacksmith and saddle shops, 2 doctors, and a hotel, with cotton, wool, cattle hides, and pecans sustaining the local economy. In 1887, a typhoid epidemic devastated the town, filling the cemetery and forcing a second burial ground. The loss of residents led to the San Fernando Academy's closure, and many families eventually abandoned the town. Its decline culminated in 1947 when a theatre fire destroyed most remaining buildings, leaving only ruins behind. Possum Kingdom Lake covers 16,716 acres from Palo Pinto, Young, Stevens and Jack counties, roughly 100 miles west of Dallas-Fort Worth. The lake is also known for its clear, blue, pristine waters, which are protected by the Brazos River Authority through specific regulations and standards designed to maintain its high quality. Its most famous landmark, Hell's Gate, is a narrow strait between Devil's Island and the mainland, where 90-foot limestone cliffs rise above waters 26 feet deep. The lake is a popular destination for boating, fishing, and camping, with the surrounding area offering a mix of upscale developments and preserved natural spaces that provide both recreation and relaxation. Lobo is 12 miles south of Van Horn in southwestern Culberson County, built atop the Van Horn Wells, the only reliable water for 100 miles of desert. This made it an important stop for the San Antonio-San Diego mail route and later the Southern Pacific Railroad. In 1909, promoters laid out a town site at Lobo, promising artesian wells and a grand hotel, and when the amenities did not exist, legal action forced them to build the hotel and drill the wells. By 1915, the population had grown to around 20, including 2 physicians, cattle breeders, an auto livery, and a general store. Disaster struck in 1929 when an earthquake destroyed the hotel, forcing most residents to leave, leaving only 10 behind. Later, irrigation briefly turned the area into a cotton hub with about 90 residents, but falling water tables soon forced wells ever deeper, prompting most people to abandon the town completely. Monaghan's Sandhills State Park covers 3,840 acres of dunes made from sand that eroded from the Rocky Mountains and was carried east by the Pecos River and winds. This park is known for its towering dunes, some up to 70 feet, and its unique dry ecosystem where shifting sands constantly reshape the landscape. Amid this treacherous terrain, legends tell of a lost wagon train that vanished into the sands, with some claiming entire caravans were swallowed. While the visitor centre offers educational exhibits, the surrounding area provides opportunities for camping and stargazing, allowing guests to fully experience the park's distinctive environment. Despite its desert-like appearance, the park supports a variety of life, including the northern harrier. In the Monaghan Sandhills, these birds patrol the open terrain, gliding low over grasslands, desert scrub, and sandy expanses, areas where tall vegetation is scarce, and their hunting strategy excels. Unlike most hawks, they have an owl-like facial disc that allows them to hunt by sound as well as sight. Flying 6 to 30 feet above the ground, with wings held in a shallow V, they circle and weave over target areas, hovering briefly before swooping down with talons extended to catch prey by surprise. Rodents, especially voles, make up most of their diet, though they also take birds, snakes, frogs, and occasionally insects. Many northern harriers migrate from Canada and the northern US to Texas for winter, while some Midwestern populations remain year-round when prey is abundant. Terlingua is known for its history as a mining town, where the mercury industry once thrived in an otherwise harsh and uninhabitable terrain. At its peak, the town featured key infrastructure, including a hotel, company store, ice plant, telephone service, a company doctor's office, a post office, a school, and even a mercury mining company. The Chisos mine became the region's largest mercury producer, and at times the nation's largest, with 23 miles of tunnels and shafts reaching depths of more than 800 feet. While the mining company enjoyed several profitable years, production declined in the late 1930s as mercury demand dropped, leading to the town's decline. The town gained new fame in 1967 when a chili contest settled a long-standing recipe debate. The event grew into the original Terlingua International Championship Chili Cook-Off, which now draws thousands of visitors and transforms the ghost town into a lively tourist destination. It has become a living ghost town with decaying mining ruins with operational businesses, including restaurants, hotels, and shops. In Terlingua's open Chihuahuan desert terrain, predatory songbirds hunt like raptors despite lacking raptorial adaptations. The open desert with scattered thorny shrubs and cacti provides loggerhead shrikes with perches, nesting materials, hunting space, and access to prey like insects, small mammals, and reptiles. It earned the nickname Butcher Bird for its gruesome habit of impaling prey on thorns, barbed wire, and sharp branches. Spanning nearly 24,247 acres within El Paso, Franklin Mountains State Park is widely regarded as the largest state park in an urban setting and one of the largest urban parks in the United States. The mountains appear to rise directly from the city, forming a protected wilderness sanctuary amid a metropolitan area of 2.5 million people. The range is likely named after Benjamin Franklin Coons, who bought a ranch in 1849. Subsequently, the settlement, first called Coons Ranch, became Franklin in 1851 and was officially named El Paso in 1852. The park features 470-million-year-old Ordovician limestone and dolomite, as well as cliffs formed from collapsed caves and unusual Precambrian sections of limestone, rhyolite, and basalt. From these vantage points, visitors can enjoy panoramic views of El Paso, Ciudad Juarez, across the Rio Grande, the Hueco Valley to the east, and the Mesilla Valley to the west. Found throughout Franklin Mountains State Park, the brown anole persists in outcrops, desert thickets, and urban edges where vegetation meets stone. Unlike many lizard species that prefer wetter climates, it adapts remarkably well to the park's dry conditions. Their toe pads, covered with microscopic hairs called setae, let them easily climb vertical surfaces like limestone cliffs, old mine structures, and visitor centre walls. When threatened, male brown anoles display bright orange-red dewlaps with rapid push-ups and head bobs to assert dominance, while females rely on quick attacks, tail detachment, or colour change to evade predators. These lizards outcompete native green anoles with better climbing skills, faster reproduction, and higher tolerance for disturbed habitats. Opportunistic by nature, they consume nearly anything they can overpower, including smaller lizards, fallen baby birds, and even carrion when prey is scarce. Western kingbirds make full use of Franklin Mountains State Park's scattered trees, utility poles, and other elevated perches that give them clear vantage points for hunting and guarding their territory. With grey heads and backs, bright yellow bellies, black tails edged in white, and pale throats that contrast sharply with their darker plumage, they are as distinctive in appearance as they are in behaviour. True to their royal name, these fearless flycatchers defend their breeding grounds with relentless aggression, dive-bombing hawks, ravens, crows, and even golden eagles that stray too close. Thurber, located in central Texas, was once a busy coal mining town that rose to prominence in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This coal mining community began in the 1880s when a farmer's failed well revealed black rocks and land speculator William Whipple Johnson saw their value. Soon after, the town was named after H.K. Thurber, a New York investor who transformed the Johnson Coal Company into the Texas and Pacific Coal Company, creating the state's largest company town. At first, the town was tightly controlled by barbed wire and armed guards, but by 1903 it had completely reversed course, becoming the nation's only fully unionized city. During its peak, Thurber boasted a 650-seat opera house, a 200-room hotel, schools, churches, saloons, and an electric-powered ice house, an isolated empire built on coal. When railroads switched from coal to oil, the company rebranded as the Texas Pacific Coal and Oil Company in 1918, marking the shift that led to Thurber's decline and eventual abandonment. The ghost town of Thurber stands with only a few remaining structures: St. Barbara's Catholic Church, a bandstand, a cemetery, and remnants of its industrial era, including building foundations and a towering smokestack. Natural Bridge Caverns is the largest cave system in Texas, offering guided tours that showcase its extensive underground formations, including stalactites, stalagmites, flowstones, and soda straws. It attracts visitors and scholars who are interested in exploring geological wonders and learning about the natural processes shaping the caverns. Presidio La Bahia is the only fully reconstructed Spanish colonial fort in the Western Hemisphere, and it also holds the distinction of being the most contested fort in Texas history, having witnessed 6 national revolutions and wars for independence. Built from thick limestone walls, it features a solid rectangular entrance of weathered stone and an arched doorway leading into the main courtyard. Within the complex are the officers' quarters, now serving as a museum, along with the barracks and a central plaza. Over the years, many have claimed the fort is haunted, with reports of ghostly apparitions, cold spots, flickering lights, phantom gunfire, and distant cries, especially near the chapel. The Catholic Diocese of Victoria now owns and manages La Bahia as both a National Historic Landmark and a functioning museum, where weekly services continue to be held in the chapel. Its meticulous restoration is regarded as one of the most authentic in the nation and the finest example of a Spanish frontier presidio. Toyah rises from the West Texas desert as the oldest town in Reeves County. The settlement began when W.T. Youngblood arrived from Midland in a covered wagon, setting up a tent store that soon became a gathering place for ranchers, before the Texas and Pacific Railway reached the area in 1881. By 1910, Toyah had reached its peak population of 1,052, boasting 4 churches, 2 banks, 2 hotels, and a large brick school. But soon after, the town's fortunes shifted. Its cattle shipping business was overtaken by a nearby settlement, and the Great Depression deepened the decline, Even so, many locals believe the town's abandonment wasn't purely economic, as whispers of unexplained events and lingering unease hint at something far more sinister. The town exists in a state of suspended decay, with most buildings left to rot where they stand, their furnishings and fixtures abandoned in place as if residents fled in sudden panic. Galveston Island, a 27-mile barrier island off the Texas Gulf Coast, is known for its beaches, lively atmosphere, and over 2,000 historic buildings in the Strand and downtown. During the late 19th century, it was called the Wall Street of the South for its busy port and central role in Texas's cotton trade. However, in 1900, a hurricane struck Galveston, destroying much of the town and killing thousands in the nation's deadliest natural disaster. Among these preserved structures, Hotel Galvez, built in 1911, stands as a symbol of the island's recovery from the devastating hurricane. Often called the Queen of the Gulf, this historic Seawall Boulevard hotel became a luxurious landmark that revived Galveston's reputation as a premier seaside resort. Listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1979, it now operates as the Grand Galvez by Wyndham with 224 rooms, remaining the only historic beachfront hotel on the Texas Gulf Coast. The hotel offers year-round ghost tours that share tales of its haunted past, including the story of the Lovelorn Lady, a bride-to-be who hanged herself in room 501 after her fiancé was presumed lost at sea. Their scientific name, Calanectes sapidus, means beautiful swimmer that is savoury, reflecting both their graceful swimming and their value as a food source. Blue crabs are easily recognised by their dark blue-green carapace, which can reach up to 9 inches across, with males sporting bright blue claws and females red-tipped ones. Like insects, they have stalked compound eyes that let them see nearly every direction at once, which gives them crucial awareness of predators during vulnerable molting periods. These crabs are opportunistic feeders, consuming nearly anything they encounter, from small fish and other crustaceans to mollusks, dead animals, and plant material. They use their powerful claws to crush the food, while their smaller walking legs carefully guide it to their mouth. Unlike most other crab species, they are highly adaptable to varying salinity levels, enabling them to thrive in habitats ranging from nearly freshwater areas to full-strength seawater. One of the most important habitats supporting blue crab populations is the East End Lagoon Nature Preserve. East End Lagoon Nature Preserve occupies 685 acres at the eastern tip of Galveston Island and represents one of the last remaining undeveloped coastal prairie and salt marsh ecosystems along the Texas Gulf Coast. It creates an ecological time capsule while the rest of Galveston develops around it. Historically, the area was once a trash dump, making its transformation into a thriving nature preserve a remarkable story of ecological restoration. More than 300 bird species have been documented within the preserve, making it one of the most important birding sites on the Texas coast, with the roseate spoonbill present there year-round. Found in the shallow lagoon waters and salt marshes, roseate spoonbills are among the most distinctive wading birds along the Texas Gulf Coast. Standing 30 to 34 inches tall, with a wingspan of 50 to 53 inches, they display bright pink plumage, and their most recognisable feature is a spatulate bill up to 6 inches long, unique among North American birds. The carotenoids in crustaceans, insects and small fish give them their pink colour, with juveniles gradually deepening in hue as they eat a protein-rich diet. Their bills detect small movements in murky water and snap shut automatically, letting them hunt where visual predators struggle and giving them an edge in brackish lagoons. Roseate spoonbills will travel up to 18.6 miles from their nesting colonies to reach productive feeding areas, demonstrating remarkable navigation and energy expenditure for food. Unlike most wading birds, they are often silent and solitary while feeding, distinguishing them from the typically vocal bird community in their habitat. In contrast, other species command attention with their dramatic plunge dives. Brown pelicans are year-round residents of East End Lagoon Nature Preserve, adapting their behaviour to the available food and nesting sites. These powerful birds weigh about 9 pounds and have a 6-foot wingspan, grey-brown plumage, and white heads that turn yellowish gold during the breeding season. Their 18-inch bill, equipped with an expandable throat pouch holding up to 2.6 gallons of water, allows them to scoop fish during dramatic head-first dives. They primarily eat menhaden and mullet, but also consume anchovies, herring, sardines, silversides, and other small schooling fish. During their first 9 weeks of life, young pelicans consume approximately 150 pounds of fish, representing a substantial energetic investment by their parents. Being highly social throughout the year, brown pelicans live in flocks of both sexes and often travel in formation. Although they face threats from fishing debris, oil spills, red tide and climate change, brown pelicans remain abundant in the preserve thanks to protected feeding waters. Washington on the Brazos, once a busy settlement along the Brazos River, is known as the birthplace of Texas, where 59 delegates signed the Declaration of Independence from Mexico. After the declaration, Washington served as the first capital of Texas and hosted the Constitutional Convention, but its prominence faded when the capital moved. By the early 20th century, the town had nearly vanished, leaving only a few structures, and today, the Star of the Republic Museum preserves its Revolutionary-era artifacts and documents. Historians attribute the town's decline to its poor location, unreliable river navigation, lack of railroads, yellow fever outbreaks, and competition from better situated communities. Washington on the Brazos became an unincorporated community of fewer than 300 residents. Every 2nd March, Texas Independence Day celebrations draw thousands with reenactments and programs, while the rest of the year, the town remains quiet. The F.W. Schurenberg House in Brenham, Texas, is renowned for its well-preserved Victorian architecture, featuring an intricate combination of Queen Anne and Eastlake styles. It is also linked to local legends and ghost stories, including the tale of a young girl's spirit appearing in the first-floor bay window and rumours of a suicide in the upstairs nursery. Today, the F.W. Schurenberg House attracts visitors interested in history and folklore, and ongoing preservation efforts ensure that this remarkable piece of local history continues to be part of the community. Fort Lancaster was established in 1855 as a frontier military outpost to protect California-bound gold seekers travelling a dangerous 300-mile stretch of the San Antonio-El Paso Road from Comanche, Kiowa, and Lipan Apache attacks. Located near the Pecos River, the outpost became one of the most isolated military installations in western Texas. It included more than 30 structures, including a blacksmith shop, hospital, and a post commissary, all built from limestone and adobe. During the Civil War, Fort Lancaster was destroyed by fire, leaving only charred remains of the stone and adobe complex. The 82-acre site serves as a state historic landmark, inviting visitors to explore stone walls, chimneys, and the preserved battlefield of a dramatic Texas frontier confrontation. Commissioned in 1943, the USS Lexington CV-16 was an Essex-class aircraft carrier that served extensively in the Pacific during World War II. Painted in dark blue-grey camouflage, it seemed to vanish and reappear among the waves, earning the nickname the Blue Ghost, after Japanese propagandist Tokyo Rose falsely reported its sinking multiple times, only for it to return in subsequent battles. Visitors and staff report hauntings aboard the 16-deck vessel, including disembodied voices, footsteps, phantom gunfire, unexplained smells, self-activating lights, and ghostly apparitions. Now operating as the USS Lexington Museum on the bay in Corpus Christi, the 910-foot carrier hosts paranormal overnight investigations, drawing enthusiasts eager to explore its haunted history. In 1876, Nelson M. Smith founded Belle Plaine in Callahan County as a centre for commerce and education, and within 2 years it was designated the county seat. Belle Plaine College became the town's centrepiece, especially its music department, with a 3-storey stone main building topped by a 4th-storey cupola that could be seen for miles across the plains. The town's decline began with a rivalry over the county seat, the railroad bypassing it, and the subsequent closure of Belle Plaine College and the post office due to drought and severe financial distress. The ruins of Belle Plaine College, the Dean's Home, and a few other residences remain as hollow stone structures, with a historical marker at the college site, visible from certain vantage points on private land. In 1718, Spanish missionaries established a series of 5 missions along the San Antonio River, serving as northern frontier outposts to Christianize indigenous groups and expand Spain's territory. The missions were more than just churches. They were fortified communities with limestone walls, workshops, storerooms, living quarters for hundreds of indigenous residents, and distant ranches stocked with livestock. By the early 19th century, declining native populations, less Spanish support, and Apache and Comanche attacks led to the abandonment and secularization of many missions, leaving numerous structures in disrepair. Mission San Jose, known for its rose window and intricate carvings, welcomes visitors to explore, attend services, and learn about the region's colonial history through exhibits and programs. Built in 1884, the 145-foot Old Alton Bridge is an iron truss structure built to connect the growing communities of Denton and Copper Canyon, facilitating travel and commerce. The Old Alton Bridge is famous for the Goatman legend, which tells of a black goat farmer who was ambushed by a violent clan, vanished after being thrown from the bridge, and whose vengeful half-man, half-goat spirit is said to haunt the site. Paranormal investigators and visitors report ghostly figures, strange lights and physical encounters near the site, drawing attention from groups like Ghost Adventures and BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural. The Old Alton Bridge was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1988 and became a Texas Historic Landmark in 2010, recognised for its history and chilling folklore. The Pedernales River, as it flows through Pedernales Falls State Park, is known for its limestone riverbed, dramatic waterfalls, and extreme vulnerability to sudden flash flooding. The river basin is rich in flint, known as Edward's chert, which Native Americans used for tools for thousands of years. Pedernales Falls State Park covers over 5,000 acres, offering visitors opportunities to camp, hike, mountain bike, picnic, birdwatch, and ride horses across its limestone terrain. The park's conditions can change quickly, as shown by a sign with 2 photos of the same river spot, calm and then raging, taken just 5 minutes apart. The Pedernales River holds water body records for all 3 catfish species: blue catfish, channel catfish, and flathead catfish, showing that its spring-fed waters provide ideal conditions for producing trophy-sized fish. They developed behavioural adaptations to survive the river's frequent flash floods, seeking refuge in deep pools, undercut banks and areas protected by large rocks or logs where the current slows. However, groundwater extraction from the Edwards and Trinity aquifers threatens the springs feeding the pedernales, potentially lowering flows needed to support large catfish. All three species are opportunistic feeders, combining ambush and active hunting strategies while retreating to cover after feeding to avoid predators. During spring, migration transforms the pedernales ecosystem as summer tanagers arrive. The oak, hickory, and pecan woodlands along the Pedernales River provide an ideal habitat for summer tanagers, allowing them to sally from perches to catch flying insects. Adult males are entirely rose red or bright strawberry red, while females display olive upperparts and warm orangish yellow underparts, colours they use to communicate for mating and survival. Outside the breeding season, summer tanagers are generally solitary, actively moving through trees in search of food. They are persistent foragers, often hovering or making short flights to glean insects from foliage. Their skill in capturing prey has earned them the nickname bee bird, as they catch adult bees and wasps mid-flight, then return to a perch to beat their prey to death and remove the stinger. During spring and summer, they breed along the Pedernales River before migrating south for the winter. This is Texas, a land of hidden wonders and remarkable architectural marvels. Now, if you don't want to miss the most unreal wonders of Appalachia region, check out this video.